Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshakable no matter what life throws at them? What's their secret? Could it be that they've mastered the art of not reacting? In Buddhism, the power of not reacting is seen as a cornerstone of inner peace and emotional control. Today, we'll explore the ancient Buddhist techniques that can help you harness this power, guiding you to a calmer, more centered life. So how can Buddhist wisdom teach us to control our emotions? Let's delve into these profound teachings and discover how they can transform your life. 1. Understanding the nature of reaction, why we react, and how it shapes our reality. At the core of Buddhist teachings is the understanding that our reactions often arise from deep-seated attachments and aversions. When something happens, whether it's a harsh word, a stressful situation, or a sudden change, our minds instinctively categorize it as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. This judgment triggers an emotional response, often leading to reactions that are automatic and unconscious. In Buddhism, these reactions are seen as the root of much of our suffering. When we react without awareness, we're essentially allowing our emotions to dictate our actions. This lack of control not only disrupts our peace of mind, but also perpetuates a cycle of suffering. The more we react, the more we reinforce these emotional patterns, making it harder to break free. 2. The power of mindfulness, observing without judgment. Mindfulness, or sati in Pali, is one of the most powerful tools in Buddhism for controlling emotions. It's the practice of paying full attention to the present moment without judgment. When we're mindful, we observe our thoughts and feelings as they arise, but we don't immediately react to them. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Normally, your instinct might be to lash out, defend yourself, or walk away in anger. But with mindfulness, you pause. You notice the anger rising within you, but instead of reacting, you simply observe it. You acknowledge its presence without getting swept away by it. This moment of pause is where the power lies. Mindfulness allows us to create a space between stimulus and response. In this space, we can choose how to react or whether to react at all. Over time, practicing mindfulness can help us break the habit of automatic reactions, leading to greater emotional control and inner peace. 3. Understanding impermanence, the key to letting go. One of the central teachings of Buddhism is the concept of anicca, or impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing: our thoughts, our emotions, our circumstances. Nothing is permanent, and this includes the emotions that arise within us. When we deeply understand impermanence, it becomes easier to let go of our attachments and aversions. We realize that whatever emotion we're experiencing, it won't last forever. This knowledge can prevent us from reacting impulsively. Instead of clinging to pleasant emotions or pushing away unpleasant ones, we learn to simply let them pass. By embracing the impermanent nature of our emotions, we can cultivate a sense of detachment. This doesn't mean we become indifferent or numb. Rather, we develop a balanced mind that isn't easily swayed by the ups and downs of life. We learn to respond to situations with wisdom and compassion, rather than from a place of reactivity. 4. The practice of equanimity, maintaining balance in all circumstances. Equanimity, or upekkha, is another key concept in Buddhism that's essential for controlling emotions. It refers to a state of mental calmness and evenness, especially in difficult situations. When we cultivate equanimity, we're able to maintain our inner peace regardless of external circumstances. In practical terms, equanimity means not being overly attached to pleasure or overly averse to pain. It's the ability to remain centered and balanced, whether we're facing praise or criticism, gain or loss, joy or sorrow. Equanimity is developed through meditation and mindful living. By consistently practicing mindfulness and reflecting on the impermanent nature of all things, we gradually cultivate a mind that remains undisturbed by life's fluctuations. This doesn't mean we become emotionless, rather we develop the ability to experience emotions fully without being controlled by them. 5. Buddhist meditation techniques, tools for emotional mastery. Meditation is the cornerstone of Buddhist practice, offering powerful techniques for controlling emotions. Two of the most effective forms of meditation for developing emotional control are samatha, calm, abiding meditation, and vipassana, insight meditation. Samatha meditation focuses on developing concentration and tranquility. By concentrating on a single object, such as the breath, we calm the mind and reduce mental distractions. This practice helps us develop a stable and focused mind, which is less prone to emotional reactivity. Vipassana meditation goes a step further by cultivating insight into the true nature of reality. Through Vipassana, we observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise and pass away, gaining a deep understanding of their impermanent and selfless nature. This insight helps us detach from our emotions, reducing their power over us. Regular meditation practice not only calms the mind but also sharpens our awareness, making it easier to catch ourselves before we react. It trains us to respond to situations with clarity and wisdom rather than from a place of emotional turmoil. 6. The role of compassion transforming negative emotions. Compassion, or karuna, is a central virtue in Buddhism that plays a crucial role in controlling emotions. When we cultivate compassion, we develop a deep sense of empathy and concern for the suffering of others. This shift in focus from ourselves to others can significantly reduce our emotional reactivity. When we're compassionate, we're less likely to react with anger, jealousy, or resentment. Instead, we approach situations with understanding and kindness. For instance, if someone insults us, rather than reacting with anger, we might consider the possibility that they're suffering in some way. This compassionate perspective allows us to respond with patience and empathy, rather than retaliation. Compassion also extends to ourselves. When we make mistakes or experience negative emotions, instead of reacting with self-criticism or frustration, we can respond with self-compassion. This gentle approach helps us manage our emotions in a healthy and constructive way. 7. Detachment from the ego, seeing beyond the self. A significant aspect of Buddhist wisdom is the concept of anatta, or non-self. According to this teaching, the self is an illusion, a construct of the mind. Our attachments, desires, and reactions are often tied to this false sense of self. When we're attached to our ego, we're more likely to react defensively to protect it. For example, if someone criticizes us, our ego feels threatened, and we may react with anger or hurt. However, when we recognize the illusory nature of the ego, we become less attached to it. This detachment allows us to see beyond our personal perspective and react to situations with greater wisdom and equanimity. By letting go of the ego, we free ourselves from the need to defend, assert, or prove ourselves. This freedom allows us to respond to life's challenges with a calm and open mind, rather than reacting out of a sense of self-preservation. 8. Right speech, the power of words in emotional control. In Buddhism, right speech is one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path, and it plays a vital role in emotional control. Right speech involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and purposefully. It means avoiding harsh, harmful, or idle talk. Our words have immense power. They can either escalate a situation or diffuse it. When we practice right speech, we become more mindful of our words and their impact. This mindfulness extends to our thoughts and emotions, helping us to control our reactions. For example, in a heated argument, practicing right speech would mean refraining from saying things that might hurt the other person or escalate the conflict. Instead, we might choose to respond with calmness, clarity, and kindness. This practice not only helps us maintain our emotional control, but also fosters healthier and more positive relationships. 9. The middle way, finding balance in emotional responses. The middle way, or Majjhima Patipada, is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism that advocates for a balanced approach to life. It's about avoiding extremes, whether in our actions, thoughts, or emotions, and finding a path of moderation. When it comes to emotional control, the middle way teaches us not to suppress our emotions or let them control us. Instead, we acknowledge them, understand them, and respond to them in a balanced and measured way. For instance, if we feel anger, the middle way doesn't suggest that we suppress it or explode in rage. Instead, we might acknowledge the anger, understand its cause, and choose a constructive way to express or release it. This balanced approach helps us maintain our emotional health and well-being. 10. The importance of daily practice, making emotional control a habit. Like any skill, controlling emotions requires consistent practice. In Buddhism, this practice isn't limited to meditation or formal sessions, it extends to every aspect of daily life. Whether we're at work, with family, or alone, we can always practice mindfulness, compassion, and equanimity. Integrating these practices into our daily routine helps us develop emotional control as a habit. Over time, responding with mindfulness and wisdom becomes second nature. We become more aware of our emotional triggers and better equipped to handle them calmly and effectively. This daily practice doesn't have to be complicated. Simple actions like taking a few mindful breaths before reacting, reflecting on the impermanence of emotions, or practicing compassion in our interactions can have a profound impact on our emotional control. Conclusion: embracing Buddhist wisdom for lasting emotional control. The power of not reacting is a profound skill that can lead to greater peace, wisdom, and happiness. Through the teachings of Buddhism, mindfulness, impermanence, equanimity, meditation, compassion, and detachment from the ego, we can learn to control our emotions and respond to life's challenges with grace and clarity. This journey isn't about suppressing our emotions or becoming emotionless. Instead, it's about understanding our emotions, embracing them without attachment, and choosing how to respond to them mindfully. By practicing these techniques consistently, we can cultivate a state of inner peace that remains unshaken by the ups and downs of life. So, the next time you're faced with a challenging situation, remember the power of not reacting. Take a deep breath, observe your emotions without judgment, and choose your response with wisdom and compassion. In doing so, you'll not only control your emotions, but also transform your entire experience of life.